Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad. Good morning to you. How are you?
Gabriel Fluffy Iglesias.
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What looking to talk to me funny, lad.
Grammy Award winner Maya joins us.
How are you?
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
And we are so excited that she is joining us right now as a part of the Hobby Center Presents live at the Founders Club, starring Camille Zamora for Desde del Alma, Songs from the Heart. She's joining us right now. Camille, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for doing this. I know a lot of people are excited about the show, but for people who don't know, who might be interested in it, let people know exactly what the show is and what they can expect this weekend.
You know, I feel so lucky to, first of all, to be here in my beautiful hometown in this most gorgeous space. We were just trying to angle my little camera here so that you could see it, but you really have to come to the Hobby Center to get a sense of it. We're in the heart of downtown, these sparkling buildings behind us, this incredible, inspiring cityscape, and this gorgeous instrument, and best of all, these wonderful musicians that are here with me collaborating for the first time in Houston.
So you are a Houston native. If research has me right, you went to the School of Performing Arts, Performing and Visual Arts, HSPVA. Can you talk to me about that experience? Because I remember I went to a different high school, but I remember going to HSPVA for this collaborative thing and just being amazed by what all was there and the embracing of the arts. Can you talk about kind of how paramount that experience was for you?
You know, thank you so much for that question, because I have to say it makes me emotional to be here for that reason. Houston, and in particular, HSPVA gave me my life. It gave me my wings. I was one of these crazy kids who would never stop singing. I mean, it's like my earliest memories are of just driving my little brother crazy with nonstop morning till night singing. And I found my tribe at HSPVA, and I found the most incredible teachers. And Ms. Bonner, our chorus teacher, just, she took the little clay that was, 13-year-old Camille and said, you might have a voice. And why don't you go practice, and why don't you take some classes? And my beloved friends, just this incredible community at HSPVA helped me kind of find this path. And it's funny, I think I was kind of a shy kid, but music sort of felt like my safe place, and it felt like my I don't know, it sort of felt like I found my comfort in my own skin for the first time in high school, thanks to HSPVA. So that was the place that launched me, and I was able to go off to New York and make a career in this beautiful art form.
Yeah, because it's interesting. People don't always look at Houston as an arts capital, but people who live here know that it really is. There's so much great things that the city offers, and so many talented people, not just in music, but filmmaking, arts, dance, so many different people. And a lot of them tend to come out of HSPVA. Here's a question, though, I have for you in terms of kind of figuring out your voice, figuring out your instrument. Because what I find fascinating is, yes, a lot of people are born with an ability to carry a tune and match pitch and things like that, but they can also work on that instrument and fine tune it and get it to a level that you didn't even know could exist. Was there a light bulb moment or a eureka moment during maybe a vocal lesson or something that, would you say Miss Bonner was her name?
Yes, Miss Bonner.
Is there something that gave to you that made you go, oh, I need to elongate the vowels. I need to open it up more vertical and not be so horizontal with my singing, or what was it?
I love these questions you're asking me because honestly, I deeply believe that everyone is a singer. Voice, it's the original instrument we sang as creatures before we spoke. It's the primal instrument that we use to connect. And I really think there's something kind of really earthy and also really sacred about the art of singing. And anybody can sing. So, I think for me, when people say, oh, did you always have that operatic voice or, were you always a soprano? I mean, I think more than having any particular gift, what I had was a crazy obsessive passion for it. And, I experimented. I think, part of learning to sing is learning to find your own voice and, trying different vocal experiments. I like that you said, horizontal and vertical, these sort of funny concepts as they can be applied to sound. That's part of the experimentation process. And, having the blessing of great teaching, which I did at HSPVA, and then also with a wonderful teacher here in town, Lois Alba, who's an iconic figure here, sang with HGO, I believe, in the 1950s, wow. And has continued to contribute and develop singers here in Houston. And then I was lucky enough to go off to Juilliard in New York and had great teachers there. But, I love that Picasso saying that, it took him his entire life of studying to learn how to make art the way he did as a child. And I feel in a way singing is that, we learn and we study and we practice so that we can get back to just the organic relationship with sound that kids have.
You're so right. There's a quote I love that says, take me away to where I had a kid's innocence, because in a sense, that's what I've been missing ever since.
Oh, I love
right?
that.
It's the same sentiment as the Picasso quote of, sometimes this childlike wonder that we all always strive to find again. For you, though, so you go to Juilliard from Houston, you continue to work on the craft. And then when did you kind of, what you would say, find where you wanted to go? Because when you're a singer, there's so many things that you can do. So many different things. So you can go into theater, opera, you can do what you're doing, go into recording, do all kinds of things. So where was it where you figured out what your path was going to be?
I think I've tried to be, opportunistic in the best sense, sunflower, kind of turning where the light is, where the energy is. And, certainly coming out of Juilliard initially, it was about opera. And I was lucky enough to spend really about a decade and a half singing wonderful operas in wonderful opera companies around the world, really. And I still have the good fortune of doing some wonderful operas as part of my career. But the funny thing was, this music was always a touchstone for me. This Latin music, it's the music that my dad used to sing when I was a kid, and it always felt like my wonderful guilty pleasure. I would get ready for my Mozart heroines on stage by singing these beautiful boleros and tangos and these canciones, Sabor a mí, Bésame mucho, all this sort of delicious stuff. That would be what I would warm up with in the dressing room, just to find kind of my authentic sound. And what was initially just kind of a fun kind of personal touchstone has actually evolved over the last couple of years to be really a staple of my career.
It's it's great that you said that, because it really leads me to what I was going to ask you, because I think, again, when we think about a singer or a dancer, obviously it's entertainment, but it's such a physical performance. Singing is, I mean, it has so much that goes into making sure that you can hit those notes night after night, especially when you're doing a 2-day event like you're doing here at the Hobby Center. Again, tickets available at thehobbycenter.org to see Camille. So I want to ask, what's the preparation? What's the routine, the daily routine? Do you go on strict vocal rest? Is it the tea and honey? Is it the, the classic choral warm-ups that you're doing? And you know what I'm saying? What is the routine that you go through?
I recommend tea and honey for every human, just for the Zen element of that. Yes. But I have to say, first of all, I'm lucky enough to be a mom, so I think the idea of vocal rest, that's quite foreign to me. But I also try to find, I think, the sweet spot between being wise. I try not to go out shrieking in loud restaurants the night before a performance, but I also try not to think about it. I think at the end of the day, at a certain, this is the benefit of having been at it for a while. You can trust the voice to remember what it wants to do. And, I've also evolved kind of a palette of repertoire that really is stuff that is so comfy for me. And whether I'm singing, in an opera or, with a symphonic orchestra, or as I am in this weekend's performances in this delicious little chamber ensemble, I have music that is, I feel connected with. And it's funny, more than anything that's sort of super physical, I do feel that the tricky thing of a modern operatic career and a modern classical music career is that you have to find stuff that you feel real ownership of. And sometimes the pace of things and being on a lot of flights and traveling here and there and learning things quickly, that can be tricky to feel a sense of ownership of the repertoire. And so for me, that's been the important thing, is just as long as I kind of feel that, okay, this is music that I know and love, it works out.
So, but I find a lot of performers are superstitious in certain ways, like they have to follow a routine ahead of time. Do you have any like pre-show rituals that you must go through to get in that right mindset and feel grounded and comfortable?
Oh, I love that question. I always think, I think it was Pavarotti who, when he was at the Met, apparently had this ritual that he would always sort of stroll the stage before performance until he found a nail. He would find a nail and sort of hold it. It was his lucky nail.
Oh, wow.
And, to me, it's such a, again, it's such a joy and such an honor, I feel, to have the opportunity to share music that I love with people. So I love to arrive at a theater early just because it feels almost sacred. You come out on the stage and there's that kind of hush before folks have arrived. And there's something so beautiful in just that moment before, that kind of anticipatory moment as you hear the orchestra arriving and people starting to tune. And I love being able to be early. But, touch wood, I do think muscle memory at a certain point, if I have to, I can kind of scoot in and get ready quickly. But it's extra special those times when you have sort of an incubation moment. To that point, one of the things that's fun about being here in Houston is actually I took the opportunity of being in my beautiful hometown to try something new. And these glorious musicians that are joining me, Héctor del Curto and Pablo Estigarribia, we're all kind of here bringing this music together to life for the first time. And we have this one day here in the space. You see the beautiful piano behind me. We have this one day of rehearsal just to sort of play, and we're sitting here and cracking up and trying this and that key and this and that arrangement. And again, just activating the spirit of play, I think, as we get ready for this weekend.
Oh, that is amazing. I love to hear stuff like that. Especially, being here in the hometown of Houston, Texas. Of course, the Hobby Center presents live at the Founders Club starring Camille Zamora. It's going to be here this weekend, the 21st and the 22nd. My final thing for you, Camille, is, one of the great things in life is that as we get older, yes, we do get wiser just by living life and understanding how things work and how the world works around us. But I wanted to know from your perspective, if you had that ability to pass on the advice for people who want to follow in your footsteps, what is the one thing that perhaps you learned most on this journey from HSPVA now all the way back here to the city of Houston? What is the one thing that you learned that you could say, you know what, make sure you always do blank?
Oh, I love that. Well, I think, again, I'm realizing we're kind of evolving a little theme here in this conversation of again, that spirit of play and finding that. Mm-hmm. There's obviously the backstory, which is that you got to do plenty of hours. Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hours, that it takes to kind of really hone a craft for anything. So I do think, those hours of woodshedding, whether it's, singing scales or painting or, whatever brilliant academic pursuit you're going for, I do think, just putting in the work, that's a great thing. But then allowing yourself space to experiment and to play. And again, to be here at the Hobby Center. The Hobby Center is such a landmark, not just for Houston, but really for the country in terms of being adventurous and trying new things and allowing for experimentation. I love that they have this gorgeous space that I'm sitting in right now with, the lights of the city behind me, and that they have decided, okay, this year we're launching this new series at the Founders Circle and the Founders Club rather, and we're going to find new ways to activate audiences in Houston. And, again, just major kudos to the folks at the Hobby Center for kind of living that value of, yes, the rigor and all of that preparation, but then also just playing and experimenting and trying new stuff. I think Houston is really about that. Houston is about excellence and rigor and all the preparation, but also space to play and try new stuff.
Well, you know what? We're excited to see you play again here at the Hobby Center this weekend. Tickets available at thehobbycenter.org. Camille Zamora will be performing Saturday and Sunday. Friday and Saturday. And you can check her out there at the Hobby Center. Camille, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. And what a wonderful conversation we've had.
Thank you so much for having me. And ahí nos vemos. Que vengan todos. Can't wait to see you.